In Hollywood, where the lines between fantasy and reality blur, few figures command the level of influence Leonardo DiCaprio does. But behind the charming smile and environmental accolades, there's a more sinister force at play. His life follows an unsettling pattern, one steeped in power, manipulation, and control. From his eerily consistent relationships with women half his age to the whispers of secretive inner circles, DiCaprio's world hints at something far darker than the media dares to expose. What if the carefully crafted image of a Hollywood icon is just a mask for something far more disturbing? The truth lurking beneath may be more horrifying than we ever imagined. The public pattern: young, beautiful, and under 25. DiCaprio's dating history is well documented and follows a distinct pattern: young, often under 25, and primarily models. According to People magazine, the actor has consistently dated women in their early 20s for decades while he himself ages. His most recent relationship with 25-year-old model Vittoria Ceretti reignited the ongoing debate about whether there's something more sinister lurking beneath this pattern. Critics argue that DiCaprio's repeated dating of women significantly younger than him highlights an imbalance of power, especially within the high-pressure environment of the modeling industry. Many of the women he's dated have been at the start of their careers, and the actor's influence in Hollywood gives him a certain leverage that young models may find difficult to resist. DiCaprio's relationships have long been the subject of tabloid headlines, with outlets like Page Six and the Daily Mail regularly covering his dating life. Yet, the media's treatment of these relationships has often veered into problematic territory, focusing more on the perceived glamour of dating a star than on the potential ethical issues at play. As The Atlantic noted, there's a glamorization of DiCaprio's bachelor lifestyle in the media that ignores the wider issue of how power operates in these relationships. What's painted as a Hollywood fairy tale may in fact be a much darker story. This shift in perspective has led some to call for a deeper investigation into the cultural impact of these relationships and how they reflect broader societal norms regarding age, gender, and power. One of the more eerie aspects of these rumors revolves around how DiCaprio's relationships seem to follow a repeated, almost ritualistic pattern. His influence over the young women he dates has been likened to that of a mentor, or even a gatekeeper, within the fashion and entertainment industries. The Independent described this dynamic as occult-like, with DiCaprio acting as a powerful figure who controls access to certain parts of the industry, deciding who rises and who falls. This power dynamic is not limited to DiCaprio, but extends to other powerful men in Hollywood who use their status to influence young women's careers. In an article for Variety, an industry insider remarked, "There's a pattern in Hollywood where older men, especially in powerful positions, date or mentor younger women, often models. It's about control, about dictating the terms of the relationship, and by extension, the woman's career. Perhaps it's all just preference, a man who knows his type. Or maybe it's something darker, a ritualistic pursuit cloaked in glamour, where power meets youth in a way that feels almost predatory." Either way, with each new headline, DiCaprio's pattern only deepens, leaving us questioning what really lies beneath. A spotless public image: how DiCaprio maintains his golden boy status. Despite decades in the spotlight, DiCaprio's public image remains virtually untarnished, even when controversies arise. According to The Hollywood Reporter, DiCaprio's team is known for its strategic handling of press coverage, often stepping in to redirect or suppress potentially damaging stories. An anonymous source from within a major Hollywood PR firm described DiCaprio's PR operation as flawless, adding, "He's surrounded by the best in the business. If there's a story they don't want out, it doesn't come out." The speculation about DiCaprio's media influence doesn't end with protecting his image. It extends to his alleged involvement in shaping the coverage of broader Hollywood scandals. According to The Guardian, DiCaprio has been linked to efforts to control the narrative surrounding industry-wide controversies, particularly those involving his closest associates. When Harvey Weinstein's sexual abuse scandal came to light, some critics questioned why DiCaprio, who had worked closely with Weinstein, remained largely unscathed by the media frenzy. One anonymous reporter who spoke to Rolling Stone described the pressure they faced when attempting to publish a negative story about DiCaprio. "We were going to run a piece about his behavior at an event. Nothing scandalous, but not flattering either. Within hours, his team was on the phone, pushing back hard. The story never ran and a puff piece appeared instead. Another source told Deadline that DiCaprio's power over the media comes not just from his PR team, but from his relationships with media moguls and entertainment executives. He's incredibly well connected. If there's something he doesn't want out there, it gets handled quietly. And it's not just about him. He's able to help protect the people in his circle too. DiCaprio is far from the only celebrity accused of manipulating media narratives, but his connections to key figures in both Hollywood and the press give him a unique level of influence. The Atlantic published an article exploring the broader issue of media control in Hollywood, noting that A-list stars like DiCaprio are often shielded from controversy by a network of journalists, editors, and PR professionals who work together to maintain a carefully curated public image. These relationships are often mutually beneficial. As Variety pointed out, celebrities provide media outlets with exclusive content, interviews, and access in exchange for favorable coverage. DiCaprio's star power ensures that he remains a highly valuable asset to the media, making it less likely that outlets would risk alienating him by running negative stories. With his spotless image crafted to perfection, DiCaprio remains Hollywood's untouchable golden boy, a status protected not just by talent, but by calculated influence and deep connections. While other stars crumble under scrutiny, he stands unscathed, leaving us to wonder, is he simply lucky? Or is this just another layer of Hollywood's carefully guarded illusion? Hollywood's secretive inner circles, the elite at the top. It's no secret that Hollywood's upper echelons are known for their tight-knit cliques, but DiCaprio's involvement in one particular inner circle has raised concerns about what really goes on behind closed doors. According to The Hollywood Reporter, DiCaprio is part of an exclusive group of actors, directors, and producers who gather regularly at private events that are heavily guarded and shrouded in secrecy. These gatherings are not your average Hollywood parties. Rumors suggest that they involve bizarre rituals, where members of the elite allegedly reinforce their dominance over the industry through covert means. One anonymous source speaking to Rolling Stone described these gatherings as having a strange energy, almost cult-like, where only a select few are allowed. You don't just walk in, you're invited, and once you're inside, you're expected to follow certain rules, the insider claimed. These meetings are said to be a way for Hollywood's most powerful to maintain control, exchanging favors and reinforcing alliances that allow them to dictate the careers of others. The term Wolfpack has often been used to describe DiCaprio's closest friends, but insiders have hinted that this group's dynamic goes beyond simple friendship. Vanity Fair published a report about DiCaprio's circle of young, powerful male celebrities, which allegedly functions like a fraternity with initiation-like rituals and loyalty expectations that mirror those of secret societies. The group is said to control access to Hollywood's inner workings, and members are expected to participate in certain traditions to maintain their standing. There have been whispered allegations of strange rituals held during vacations and exclusive trips, such as the infamous yearly yacht gatherings off the coast of Cannes, where DiCaprio and his friends are known to gather with the world's elite. Page 6 reported on these events where phones are banned, security is tight, and only a hand-picked few are allowed in. It's like stepping into another world, one source told the Daily Mail, hinting at something darker behind the exclusivity. Several former Hollywood insiders have spoken, often anonymously, about the cult-like nature of DiCaprio's inner circle. One source, who worked closely with a member of DiCaprio's group, told The Guardian, "You don't realize what you're getting into until you're too deep. There are unspoken rules, who you can be seen with, how to behave at certain gatherings, and the favors that must be exchanged." Another source told The Cut that DiCaprio's inner circle operates on a system of mutual protection and secrecy, with any breach of this code resulting in ostracism from the group. So, behind the glamour and flashing cameras lies a hidden web of power, loyalty, and secrecy, one that binds DiCaprio and his circle in ways that feel both alluring and unsettling. Whether it's just exclusive parties or something darker, Hollywood's elite knows how to keep its secrets well guarded, leaving us to wonder just how deep these connections truly run. The shady ties behind Appian Way. Founded in 2004, Appian Way Productions has been involved in several of DiCaprio's most successful films, including The Wolf of Wall Street and The Revenant. However, questions about the company's financial dealings first emerged during the fallout from the 1MDB scandal, which tied DiCaprio's film The Wolf of Wall Street to funds embezzled from the Malaysian Sovereign Wealth Fund. According to the Wall Street Journal, fugitive financier Joe Low, the mastermind behind the 1MDB scandal, funneled millions of dollars into the film's production, money that was later revealed to have been stolen. While DiCaprio cooperated with authorities and returned assets linked to the scandal, the revelations about the funding of The Wolf of Wall Street have raised broader concerns about the sources of Appian Way's financing. Industry insiders have also commented on Appian Way's financial relationships, with some suggesting that the company's ties to morally dubious backers go beyond the 1MDB scandal. One anonymous producer told The Hollywood Reporter that DiCaprio's ability to secure financing for high-budget films, often with international funding, has led to speculation about the true nature of his partnerships. It's not uncommon for big projects to seek foreign investment, but with DiCaprio's company, there have always been whispers about where some of that money is coming from, the source claimed. Another testimony from an insider speaking to Variety noted that the opaque nature of these financing deals has left many in the industry uncomfortable. There are investors linked to regimes with questionable human rights records, and Appian Way's willingness to work with them raises ethical questions, the insider explained. This has led to speculation that some of DiCaprio's projects may have been compromised by the interests of these backers. Hollywood's reliance on international financing, especially from investors in countries with weak regulatory oversight, has long been a subject of concern. Appian Way, with its international connections and history of high-budget films, has been linked to several of these investors. According to a report by the Financial Times, one of Appian Way's backers is a Russian oligarch whose company has been accused of environmental destruction and human rights violations. While no direct accusations have been made against DiCaprio, the involvement of such figures in his projects raises concerns about how their influence may shape the content and messaging of the films he produces. As Appian Way's funding sources grow murkier, so does the shadow cast over DiCaprio's projects. The star's impeccable image collides with whispers of questionable partnerships, leaving us to wonder, how far does this darkness spread, and what compromises have been made to keep the lights of Hollywood shining? Controversial investments and shady properties. Over the years, DiCaprio has made significant investments in luxury real estate across the globe, including Malibu, New York, and Belize. However, several of these properties have raised eyebrows due to their connections to developers with questionable backgrounds and links to areas facing environmental degradation. According to Forbes, one of DiCaprio's properties in Belize, Blackador Cay, was pitched as an eco-resort, but local environmentalists raised concerns about the potential damage to the island's fragile ecosystem, calling the project greenwashing. Similarly, a report from the New York Times highlighted DiCaprio's involvement with high-end real estate developments that have been tied to foreign investors with histories of corruption and shady financial practices. One of these properties, a luxury estate in the Hollywood Hills, was linked to an international developer who has been accused of money laundering. Multiple insiders in the real estate industry have commented on the complexities of DiCaprio's real estate investments. One source, speaking to The Guardian, noted that while DiCaprio's eco-friendly image is publicly marketed, the behind-the-scenes reality of his real estate dealings tells a different story. DiCaprio is involved in deals with developers whose environmental track records are far from clean. It's a contradiction between his public advocacy and private investments, the source claimed. While DiCaprio has publicly advocated for environmental protection, many of his real estate investments have sparked accusations of hypocrisy. The Washington Post reported on DiCaprio's beachfront Malibu properties, which have come under fire for contributing to the erosion of the coastline. Environmental activists have pointed out that these luxury developments, far from protecting natural habitats, often exacerbate local environmental issues. Beyond environmental concerns, DiCaprio's real estate dealings have also been scrutinized for their financial connections to developers with checkered pasts. The Daily Beast highlighted DiCaprio's involvement in a property deal with a developer who has been linked to a political scandal involving bribery and fraud. While DiCaprio himself has not been implicated in these crimes, his association with these figures has raised questions about how closely he scrutinizes the backgrounds of his business partners. A former colleague from one of DiCaprio's investment ventures, speaking anonymously to Deadline, described a veil of secrecy around some of his more controversial real estate projects. He's smart, he knows what's going on, but he keeps his distance when things start to get messy, the source said, suggesting that DiCaprio may be aware of the morally dubious nature of some of his investments, but chooses to look the other way. DiCaprio's eco-friendly image may shine in the spotlight, but his investments cast a shadow that's harder to ignore. Behind the glamorous properties and luxury eco-resorts lies a web of secrecy, questionable partnerships, and environmental contradictions. A world where ideals seem compromised for profit, leaving us to wonder what values truly guide his choices. Hollywood's dark gatekeeping, controlling access to fame. The entertainment industry has long been known for its gatekeepers, powerful individuals who hold the keys to success, deciding who will rise to fame and who will remain in obscurity. DiCaprio, through his production company Appian Way and his connections to Hollywood's most influential figures, is said to hold immense power over casting decisions and industry opportunities. The Hollywood Reporter published an article examining the allegations that DiCaprio has been deeply involved in choosing which new actors get their big break, often influencing which films and projects they can access. An anonymous casting director speaking to Rolling Stone claimed, "If DiCaprio is behind a project, his word can make or break a young actor's career. He has the power to blacklist someone and he knows it. It's an unspoken rule in the industry. Stay on his good side or you'll never work again." Several accounts from rising actors have fueled speculation that DiCaprio manipulates relationships with younger talent, using his influence to maintain control over their careers. One actor, who spoke on the condition of anonymity to Variety, explained how DiCaprio's approval can open doors that would otherwise remain closed, but noted the darker side of this dynamic. Once you're in his circle, there's an expectation that you'll play by his rules. If you don't, those same doors will slam shut in your face. This influence extends to film festivals, where DiCaprio's presence can legitimize a project, and where emerging talent often hopes to gain recognition. A report by The Guardian highlighted how DiCaprio's backing of certain films or actors has shaped the careers of those involved. However, these relationships are not always built on mentorship, but rather on a power imbalance, where DiCaprio allegedly leverages his influence to assert control. Appian Way, DiCaprio's production company, has been accused of playing a central role in these dynamics. The Guardian noted that Appian Way's involvement in high-profile projects gives DiCaprio considerable control over which actors are cast and which projects succeed. Emerging actors who land roles in Appian Way films often see their careers skyrocket, but this success may come at a cost. One film industry insider told Deadline that DiCaprio's company operates like a gatekeeping machine, selecting talent based on personal relationships and strategic partnerships rather than purely on merit. It's all about who's in favor at the moment. If DiCaprio wants you to succeed, you will. If not, you're out of luck. DiCaprio's power in Hollywood isn't just about fame. It's about control, a quiet but unyielding grip on who gets in and who stays out. For those who hope to rise under his shadow, there's a price to pay, a set of rules to follow, or risk being shut out forever. In this world, the doors to fame are tightly guarded and DiCaprio holds the keys. Hollywood's fixers and DiCaprio's involvement. Over the years, rumors have surfaced about DiCaprio being complicit in a series of high-profile cover-ups that protect powerful figures within the industry. From scandal-ridden producers to financial fraud, DiCaprio's connections to the highest echelons of Hollywood raise serious questions about the extent of his involvement in these murky affairs. DiCaprio's association with Harvey Weinstein has been a focal point in these accusations. Weinstein, once one of Hollywood's most powerful producers, was later exposed for decades of sexual misconduct. According to the New York Times, DiCaprio worked closely with Weinstein on several projects, including Gangs of New York and The Aviator. While there's no evidence that DiCaprio was directly involved in Weinstein's actions, his silence before the producer's eventual downfall has fueled speculation about whether he, like many other stars, turned a blind eye to the darker realities within Hollywood's elite circles. In 2017, as Weinstein's abuses came to light, Vanity Fair published a report indicating that many in Hollywood were aware of Weinstein's actions, but chose to remain silent. DiCaprio's lack of a public statement at the time was seen by some as a calculated move to protect his career and avoid implicating himself in the scandal. Hollywood has long been known for employing fixers, individuals whose job is to keep scandals from leaking to the public. These fixers operate in the shadows, handling everything from silencing victims to paying off witnesses. DiCaprio's connections to some of these Hollywood power brokers have raised questions about whether he has benefited from their services to protect his image or the secrets of his powerful friends. A former Hollywood insider, speaking anonymously to Rolling Stone, hinted at DiCaprio's possible involvement with these shadowy figures. "Everyone knows Hollywood has its cleaners," the source said. "DiCaprio has been around long enough to know how things work. Whether or not he's directly involved, he's in the same circles that use these fixers to bury scandals." The Atlantic recently published a piece exploring how actors like DiCaprio navigate Hollywood's dark side, arguing that maintaining power often requires complicity. In an industry where careers are built on public perception, staying silent is often the safest move, the article concluded. DiCaprio's continued avoidance of the more controversial aspects of his career suggests that he is well versed in this strategy. In Hollywood, silence can be as telling as a confession, and DiCaprio's quiet proximity to scandal suggests a comfort with the unspoken rules of power. Whether a silent witness or an indirect participant, he moves within circles where shadows keep secrets safe, leaving us to question just how deep his understanding and his complicity truly goes. LDF's mysterious financial ties. The Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation has been a leading voice in environmental causes since its founding in 1998. However, according to The Guardian, concerns have been raised about the foundation's financial transparency, especially its association with large corporate donors whose environmental track records are less than stellar. The lack of detailed financial disclosures from the LDF has only added to the speculation about where the money is really coming from and where it's going. Several environmental activists have raised concerns about DiCaprio's connections to major corporations that have contributed to the environmental crisis. An anonymous source from a prominent environmental organization told Rolling Stone, "The corporations donating to LDF are some of the worst offenders when it comes to environmental degradation." It raises the question, is DiCaprio really fighting for the planet, or is he simply cashing in on his green image? DiCaprio's cozy relationships with major oil and gas companies have also raised eyebrows. While his public advocacy is focused on renewable energy and combating climate change, his private investments suggest otherwise. According to Forbes, DiCaprio has invested in companies linked to the oil and gas industries, an unsettling contradiction to his public stance on climate change. One of the most troubling aspects of DiCaprio's environmental efforts is his involvement with carbon offset initiatives. Carbon offsetting allows companies to continue polluting while claiming to balance out their emissions by funding environmental projects. However, these projects are often riddled with fraud and inefficacy. According to the New York Times, several carbon offset projects supported by DiCaprio's foundation have been called into question, with many failing to deliver on their promises of reducing emissions. Some environmental groups argue that DiCaprio's support of these initiatives is more about image than impact. A former LDF insider, who spoke to The Hollywood Reporter under the condition of anonymity, claimed, "It's all smoke and mirrors. The foundation gets great press for funding these projects, but if you dig deeper, you see that a lot of it is greenwashing. It makes it look like something is being done, but in reality, very little changes." According to an investigative report by Bloomberg, DiCaprio has accepted donations and sponsorships from companies that have been linked to environmental disasters, leading some to speculate that his environmental advocacy may be compromised by these financial ties. In an article for The Atlantic, a journalist who has followed DiCaprio's career for years noted, "There's no doubt that DiCaprio is passionate about the environment, but the question is whether his philanthropy is motivated by genuine concern or by financial incentives. When you look at some of his business dealings, it's hard not to see a conflict of interest." While DiCaprio champions environmental causes on the world stage, the tangled web of financial ties behind his foundation casts a long shadow. Is it genuine advocacy or a carefully crafted illusion of green virtue? The line blurs, leaving us to wonder what truly drives his mission, passion or profit. DiCaprio's political ambitions, a calculated move for more power? DiCaprio's relationships with influential politicians have been a subject of scrutiny, with many believing that the actor wields more power than is immediately apparent. According to the New York Times, DiCaprio's proximity to major political donors and international leaders raises concerns about his influence over policy discussions. Though often framed as just another celebrity, DiCaprio's ties to the political elite place him in rooms where critical decisions are made, often away from the public's gaze. An anonymous political consultant speaking to Rolling Stone claimed that DiCaprio has been involved in backdoor negotiations that blur the lines between Hollywood and Washington. DiCaprio is more than just a face for environmental causes, the consultant stated. He's in the thick of it, advising on strategies and working with some of the world's most powerful political figures. What's discussed behind closed doors rarely makes it to the public. In a piece by The Atlantic, a former staffer from a major environmental lobbying group described DiCaprio's involvement in these back-channel political deals as unsettling. The source noted that DiCaprio's access to political leaders allowed him to influence key decisions without public accountability. He's been in rooms where policies are shaped, where decisions about international climate agreements are being discussed, and he has the ear of the people in charge, the insider revealed. One particular controversy emerged when the Washington Post uncovered that DiCaprio's foundation had been quietly working with international political figures through undisclosed donations to influence climate-related policies. The donations, while not illegal, were seen as part of a broader strategy to subtly shape environmental legislation in ways that benefit DiCaprio's personal investments in the green energy sector. Beyond domestic politics, DiCaprio's influence has reached into the realm of global diplomacy. In an exposé by Politico, it was revealed that DiCaprio had been involved in conversations with leaders from the European Union and the United Nations regarding global climate agreements. While DiCaprio's public appearances at climate summits are well known, these behind-the-scenes discussions paint a darker picture of an actor wielding enormous power in the shaping of international policies. According to Deadline, DiCaprio has used his platform as an environmental advocate to gain influence over key political figures, allowing him to push for policies that align with his business interests in the renewable energy sector. An anonymous diplomat speaking to foreign policy noted that DiCaprio's involvement in climate diplomacy isn't as altruistic as it seems. He has financial interests tied to the green economy, and his voice has weight when it comes to policy decisions. DiCaprio's environmental advocacy might seem noble, but his quiet maneuvering within the halls of power suggests something far more calculated. Is he simply a concerned citizen, or is he leveraging his influence to shape policies for his own gain? The line between celebrity activism and political ambition grows ever thinner, leaving us to question what DiCaprio truly seeks: a better world or a world shaped by his own agenda. As the curtain falls on the carefully orchestrated world of Leonardo DiCaprio, one thing is clear. Beneath the surface of his philanthropic work and blockbuster roles lies a tangled web of power, secrecy, and control. His relationships, both personal and professional, suggest a man who operates in Hollywood's darkest corners, influencing not just the careers of rising stars, but the very narratives we consume. In a world where control is masked as charm, DiCaprio's calculated existence raises a question that chills to the bone. What horrors are we missing beneath the Hollywood sheen? Perhaps the real story isn't the image he's built, but the secrets he's hidden, secrets that may never see the light of day.